I think we're live, Dave.
Uh-oh.
And it's recording. So we're on both what? LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube.
Cool. What's the
Yep.
what's on the docket?
Well, we've got four things to talk about, but I
I
just
know
want
there's
to
a
commend.
docket. There's always a
Yeah, yeah,
docket.
yeah. I just want to commend everybody who's watching for taking your Friday off early and not taking Friday too seriously. I know that I've had a good lunch with maybe a cocktail or two. I do not have a problem. Dave, don't even start with that right now.
Hey, New Orleans means you do what you want, basically. I think that's how that works.
And I pretty much live with a New Orleans frame of mind everywhere I go. I mean, that's the only right way to do it.
Right, right.
All right. Well, let me pop over to the chat just to make sure I'm not missing any comments. And so let's go over the things that we're going to talk about today. This is the first time we have a list. We've been talking about this forever, and we have it kind of down pat right now. All right, which is great. So the boat brawl, a recent proposal, movie night, and David Tan. Which you know what, Dave,
Hmm.
I still haven't rewatched the video to have a decent conversation about it.
I spent a lot of time on the website, on his website, thinking about our conversation. So yeah, I have some things to say, more like aspirational things than anything specific to our conversation. But also do remember that conversation left me feeling like man, I can do this. I've got skills and a mindset to do this, so I should sort of treat him as like a model. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is possible.
Yeah, I feel a lot of that is going on right now because with the website that we found from listening to the lecture of Black Women in Design, seeing her website, I don't want to kill her name. We can put it in the chat. That is just as inspiring as okay, maybe one, I need to up my game, and two, the work that we do have is pretty nice. And maybe we just need to start displaying that just as beautifully.
Yeah, I think it's presentation. Um, there's something about David Tan's presentation. Like, don't get me wrong, the work is stellar, but the presentation takes it to another level because you understand, like, oh, he's proud of it. Like, they are proud of it. They are showing it off rather than just listing off a bunch of things, which is what I think a
Hmm.
lot of us do when we're in a hurry.
Hmm.
Like, he has crafted his website and his portfolio
Yeah,
as though he cares. Imagine that.
you're right,
So
right.
when I say when I saw his stuff and I was looking to his website, it felt very aspirational. Like, man, I need to get on this level. Yeah, but are we by the way, our docket, are we going in order?
We are not going in order, and I was just scrambling to find David Tan's website so I can add it as a lower third so people can kind of know what we're talking about.
It would
But
be
we'll go in order.
tantrumagency.com.
Yeah, I'm just gonna David Tan. He has no idea we're doing this. I wonder if he's like, what? No, he's not gonna be. He's got bigger fish to fry. Okay,
I don't
this
think
is the one.
you would be angry with a free link, a
Who would be?
free pub.
Yeah. Oh, look, I got to get rid of that other. Okay, so let's go. We have an agenda. Here it is. Boom. And we are going to start our conversation. Let's go.
All right. So everybody knows what boat brawl is. It kind of struck that the brawl happened on a dock, so it should be called the dock brawl. But I get alliteration. Boat brawl sounds better, right? But that fight wasn't on the boat. The fight was off the boat.
That's a very good point.
Anyway, I found out. Did you find out some of the details that it was it was an entire crew? They were going to defense of their captain.
Oh, no, I didn't know it was their
That
captain.
makes it even better.
Oh, so what is the captain that jumped in the
No,
water?
the captain was the dude that threw his hat to the sky and
I,
called all the ancestors.
I thought he was just like the security guard. I didn't know he
No,
was
no,
part
no.
of the team.
Security guard is it was like a dismissive description.
Mm,
His name
gotcha.
his name was co-captain, and then it had his whole name.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
that makes sense. So maybe they really did practice the song.
I mean, I don't know if they practiced it, but certainly you had this sense that they've had that talk one day. Like, man, do you know what would happen if such and such ever happens? Like, dog, I'm coming off this boat and come and help you.
And they meant
You know
it.
what I
They
mean?
just
Like
weren't
that's what
bullshitting
it
this
felt like.
time.
It felt like,
Ooh, I know what I would do if I was a slave.
boy, I wish he would. I wish he would.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was and it seems like a small thing. It could be a big thing in several different ways. I'm sure if this was the other side and it was people that are not black making icons, jokes about things that happen like that all day, we would probably take it differently. But it does mean a lot for me to finally see, instead of black people fighting each other and all the negative imagery we have about African Americans, to see people come to people's aid rightfully, to make sure that they aren't traumatized, or at least they know they have people who have their back.
Yes, and there is a young lady who on probably TikTok, but then it found its way to Instagram. Um, was talking about it. We'll post her link in the notes later.
Oh yeah,
She is really hype about it, saying funny things about it, but then in moments of calmness, she talks about how slaves were delivered to that dock. That fight happened where families were broken up.
mhm,
Like that fight happened where people were sold as property.
yeah,
So so of course we're gonna talk about the symbolism of that fight in that particular bit of real estate with its history attached to it. I mean, how could we not infuse how we feel about that all in one moment? You know what I mean? Like it's an inescapable comparison. It's an inescapable connection.
true, true. We are at past the 2 minute mark. Just letting you know.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I think that I'm shocked that there were arrests.
Oh,
I'm but I won't be shocked when charges get dropped. I won't be shocked when no one goes to jail. And I won't
absolutely no one, right?
and yeah, well,
This is
and I
progress, right?
sure. And I won't be shocked if the young men who participated are targeted later. You
That's a
know,
good point. Yeah,
so the some of the protesters in Ferguson were targeted after the fact. So
right.
as much as it's celebratory, I also, and I'm sure we all do, have that 85% celebration, 15% dread, because
Oh
we
yeah,
know America will eventually get back to being America.
yeah.
So that's I've got all those emotions in my head.
Yeah, and with the climate these days, I'm one thankful that no one had guns. I keep
Right?
saying if
Can you
this was
imagine?
where we are in Texas, that
Yeah.
outcome would have been entirely different.
Right. But there's no
Um,
way there's not an open carry. There's no way there's not a carry um, uh, law in Alabama. There's got to be,
so,
right?
so I guess the crew, 20 seconds, the crew can't carry.
I mean, who knows? I don't know Alabama law, but saying Alabama law together, those two words don't go together.
Ah,
Not
the
not
South in
histor-
law, right?
not historically. But anyway,
No.
so I will say I'm going to sit in the celebration for as long as I can.
All right. Recent proposal. Let me
Woo!
restart it.
So recent proposal, man, like that was a big deal. That is it had a sense of existential dread hanging on it.
Oh yeah, right, 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 right.
It had when the meeting was over, I felt like my shoulders were tight. Like I felt like I was so concentrating on the making sure we communicated our capabilities, but also making sure we heard every last syllable of what they needed, so we could have a good understanding of what the deliverables might be. So a lot of those deliverables are common sense things that we would have sussed out anyway. Um, but it was good to hear some detail around it. I will say that for younger designers who are putting together a proposal and then wind up having a pitch conversation or a discovery conversation, or sometimes they can be classified as a chemistry test, really,
It is.
to see how you vibe with your potential group of clients.
And a lot of people fail.
Yeah, yeah. I would say maybe we should talk about it in terms of advice for people.
I think you're right, because the thing that we were talking about is that in person or virtual conversation is the litmus test for them figuring out if they are the type of people that they are interested in working with for a long term engagement.
And then how does authenticity play into that? And
Right.
sometimes, and as black people of a certain generation, I don't think younger people have a problem, but I think black people of a certain generation might feel like, oh, I might need to tone that down here, um, because
Oh, the personality?
well, personality, but not personality. I'm talking about culture. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay. So, are you saying that we certain people would be buttoned up and so hungry for the business that they did the business facade and not actually showed who they really were? Because I know if we give a presentation, the way we're dressed now is pretty much how we dress for our
Right, right, right.
presentations.
This is formal attire as far as I'm concerned. Like I'm getting married in 20 minutes. This is what I would wear to my wedding. Um, the but I mean the explicit aspects of culture, like how we talk, different words we might use.
Yeah.
Um, the that tone is certainly authentic. But are there moments where you should and should not turn that on? I wonder.
Mm.
I wonder.
Uh, I kind of feel like you should just risk being yourself, period. Like there's nothing that I should be able to turn off or on, especially if we have a lot of great feedback about
Right.
how we behave from our other clients.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like I told a client a couple of weeks ago that the amount of corrections and art direction that they sent on a particular document was wild. That's the word I used. I said the stuff you sent back was wild, and she was like kind of taken aback. But I mean, there was no other way to describe the insanity she sent. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, I do think that there's something to be said for being as authentic as possible, and what that means not only for personality but also just straight up blackness.
Right, right. Yeah, especially if they're looking for an agency that's going to be able to relate to the community that they're trying to serve. Right?
Sure, but outside of that, I'm just talking about being a human being, who I am, words I use, vernacular I use, tonality I use. 20 years ago, I might kind of sound like Carlton a little bit, because I was, because before LinkedIn and before people knew, oh, here comes a black,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Right, right.
because
Yeah.
LinkedIn is so easy for them to Google you, they know you're black when you get there. We talked
Yeah,
about
we
this
we
before,
yeah, we talked about that in detail, yeah.
where I had a client walking into a coffee shop looking for the designer she's supposed to meet. She doesn't know what I look like, and just glanced over me 3 or 4 times, because in her brain, there's no way that large black man could be the designer she's going to talk to. LinkedIn has made that easy now because you can see my mug and you
Wait,
know who
wait.
I am.
But what were we talking about before this?
Talking about the proposal and how
Oh
whether
no, we're
how,
out of time. We are out of.
did you set me up? Did you set me up for that? Did you
No,
set me
you
up
went to
to have
you
this
you
stuff?
you went into the story that we already have.
You know what?
So. Next
So
one.
what you're saying is we're gonna have a rundown. If we're gonna have a rundown, we need to use the rundown. Is what you're saying? Can't believe you did that.
Um, yeah, you know what?
We're supposed to be partners.
we agreed on this format, so I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, now I'm on the wrong one, and I got to go back. Okay,
Yeah,
wait.
look at you.
That's what I get.
That's what you get.
Okay. Oh, hold on for a second. Movie night, movie night, movie night, movie night. Yes.
Okay, what was the title of the movie? Because it wasn't a movie so much as it was a recorded presentation.
So we have people on Facebook commenting, but I don't even have Facebook open to know who it is, and all we keep seeing is Facebook user. So
But
I'm sorry, y'all.
I do see people. They seem to be on my side. So whoever it is,
Oh no, no. What do
right back
you?
there,
Your side for what?
right,
What?
right back
What?
there. Look at him. Look at
What
him. Look at him.
side are you talking?
Just,
No.
just, just read the comments. They got me. They got my back.
Somebody's
Basically,
somebody said boo. I think they were talking to you.
I'm the captain on the dock, and those are all my people swimming to me in the water. That's what those are.
Oh, and I'm the white people? What? How is
Yeah.
that?
Well, you're the chair.
I'm the chair. Wow. Hey, it's Gabby and Brad, and I think Ashley Graham is in the house. All right. So we've wasted 2.5 minutes
Okay.
talking not about movie night, and now we got to go back again because it says, okay, movie night. The
Black
name of
design, black women in design, and
the
essentially,
history of Black women in design.
yeah, essentially, it's a roll call,
Mhm.
being driven by uh, why am I blanking on her name?
Dr. Cheryl, Dr.
Miller.
Professor Cheryl Miller, and
Yeah.
Takesha Sutton. Let's
Right.
not
So
forget her. Yeah.
they essentially do just like a roll call of that. They go all the way back to I think the 20s, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And there was a lot of history in that I mean, we'll call it a movie, but it was basically a recorded presentation, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and it's information I didn't know about. It was information that was very like inspirational. Like when you go look and imagine, it would be tough. It would be hard for a young woman of color to be an illustrator now. Imagine 1938
Right.
and trying to make her moves and get her work out in the world and that stuff. So, it's one of those things like, man, if she's going to do that in 1938, I'm not going to complain.
See,
You know,
right?
I'm on.
It's another one of those up your game things, right?
Yeah,
Because that's what we've been seeing in the African American slash Black design community, which is very inspiring.
right. And also, like, not only up your game, but like if like they didn't, you don't want a situation where it feels like they did all that work for nothing. You know what I mean?
So
It's
you're
like
so you're saying as designers, we have a historical, a communal ancestral obligation
a
for uplift and
communal,
doing better.
ancestral, cultural obligation to be as good as we can be as illustrators, designers, writers, all that.
Good points.
We owe it to them, literally owe it to them to be as badass as we can possibly be.
I agree with that completely. And
And we
now,
also need to reach back and help younger designers up. Like it's not like there's no just going and be successful and that's all you do. No, you gotta help out a younger designer. You gotta help out somebody. You gotta like make sure everybody eats.
yeah, yeah. And so there were a lot of ladies, Black women in design that we just didn't know about that were phenomenal, including some younger um, designers that are Black. And we found this website that was just incredible. But I don't know what y'all think about movie night, but that's where I find all of the details that I'm posting all over social media because having the opportunity to study this stuff and to have it so easily accessible to me when I grew up reading encyclopedias and I couldn't find out any of this stuff, it floors me that we don't take advantage of this as African American creatives and designers.
Right. You're right. And just a place to get together and talk about things too. Like, it floors me as well. Like there's this opportunity to commune and to talk to people who have the same problems and issues you have, and then they don't do it. I it to me it feels like when we're doing stuff like that, it's the same spirit I had when I was back in school, design school.
Agreed.
And you're just sitting around talking about nothing but design, nothing but art. That's what you're talking about because that's what you want to do. And the idea that we have the ability to do that, but a lot of people don't take advantage of it,
But
is kind of mind blowing.
do you feel like it's because we know where we came from and we know the difference between being live with other people and having these dialogues, and maybe a large percentage of our audience being self taught? Maybe they just have never experienced that, so they don't even understand the value of it.
I think that might that yeah, I think that's probably a pretty good guess in certain terms. But I would say that regardless of whether or not someone went to school, everyone knows what it's like to sit around in a circle and listen to the new CD that came out or the new music that came out or talk about the game
Right?
or talk about the movie. So there's no difference in that in terms of the camaraderie of a bunch of black creators talking in an environment where they don't have to pull any punches, they don't have to worry about how they're coming across. They don't have to worry about do they belong. Like you absolutely belong.
Yeah, and I think it's an
Yeah.
opportunity to celebrate the diversity and blackness because that's one thing. I was a computer lab monitor for Loyola in New Orleans for work study, and
That doesn't surprise me one bit. Not one bit.
what you mean?
Not one bit.
What you mean? It doesn't surprise?
Was the button all the way up here? Was it like this?
Oh, are you calling me a nerd?
No.
This is coming from the man who just
It's
said
Friday. It's Friday. It's family. We would do that.
I needed the money. It's not like I was, prostituting or anything.
Wow. Wow. This took a turn. This took a turn.
I wasn't selling drugs. I was just being a lab monitor. I wasn't
You money was
slinging
out on the
cane.
street. Who put you on the street? Man, just go to the docket. Go to the next topic.
Wait. Just got one more thing to say. Somebody says they love that about our group. I don't even know what they're saying. They love it. Maybe. I don't know. Because we're black.
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie. Yeah. The diversity of blackness, the one thing you were talking about CDs, the one thing that I gained as a computer lab monitor is we all would sit together. And at that time, we had, I think, a jukebox or something because we weren't playing music from the computers because it took up too much RAM, right? And so
Right.
everybody would bring their CDs, and you had people from all these different backgrounds learning new music and new traditions. And to have that experience with Black people, because there's such a diversity, we don't all listen to Jay-Z. We don't all
Right.
follow the same graphic designers. It's something that is going to be deeply valuable to our community, and that's why we do stuff like that.
Right. Right. Right.
We are on Tan's the Man, even though neither one of us rewatch the video.
Yeah, we didn't have time. I had client work that got in the way. That's just how it goes. Um, I would say if you post that link again to his website, um, and or either that or post. I think you already did post the link to the original podcast, right?
Yeah, well, I did the YouTube site. I'll just do it again. Yeah,
Yeah,
no. I have the list because I gave the Bitly link.
gotcha. So this person has an agency. They do incredible work, absolutely incredible work,
Insanely incredible work.
and this person was one of the judges in our recent Black Made Design Awards.
Yeah, nicest guy in the world.
So
He's reached.
anybody who entered that contest, this dude saw your work.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't know if people in our community actually reached out to him to say, hey, or sent him a LinkedIn message. I know the ones who have, like Mr. Whitfield, who is on it at all times. And he now has posters in his office.
Yeah,
That's really nice. So,
yeah. That's why I introduced. I sent his work to DJ Stout. I sent Whitley's work to Whitfield's work to. Why do I call him Whitley? Whitfield's work to
you were thinking of Whitley Gilbert,
Jasmine Guy.
Jasmine guy, who was on.
Ooh, let's take up some of David Tan's time. to talk about Jasmine Guy.
I know. And it's this is where we're old because I know I had a picture on my wall. I had like she was wearing a pink fluffy thing with the curly hair. Oh man.
2 days ago, I watched the Step Show episode
What?
because it popped in my head, and I just needed to go back and look at that Step Show episode from a different world.
Yeah. Oh,
Anyway,
Marcia
David
Tomei was
Tennant,
on there too. I'm not. Well, I'm not even gonna get into it. Yeah.
yeah,
Moving forward, David Tan. Yes.
David Tennant,
Yeah.
fantastic designer.
Yeah.
And again, go check out that website and check out how the work is presented. You might have a fantastic logo set. You might have a fantastic presentation of how or at least sort of like this case study history of how you designed a logo from sketch to all the way through to the usage guideline. I think if you present that stuff in a stale, flat way, it does not land. I
Oh.
think you to treat because my portfolio is filled with great work, but it's a boring presentation.
So.
So when I see the presentation from David Tan, when I see the presentation from, I think you had said you were scared to pronounce her name. I'm gonna. It's probably it's either I think it's Funje Dube.
Black name pronouncing bingo. Not bingo. What would be a good name?
Well, the only difference here is the G hard or not.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
either Fungi, but because there's no E, I'm gonna say it's a soft G, Fungi, and the last name Dube. It's got to be the emphasis on the first syllable.
So, Dave, my pronunciation is just about as good as my spelling.
By the way, y'all, this presentation we were talking about earlier, the proposal, the amount of misspelled words, the amount
What happened
some
was
words were so misspelled that they had turned into other words. You know what I mean?
our spell check is like, what? I don't even
Like
understand.
it's like what we don't know what to do, so let's just this is the closest word. And
Yeah.
he doesn't use dynamic spell check.
It's distracting.
Yeah, well, so is not getting any money because nobody
What?
reads proposals because everything's misspelled. That's distracting.
Well, what I'm going to say
Miss
is
Meal cramps, them hunger pains because you can't afford money, you can't
so
afford a
what they say no. So what they say in all of the creativity books is you need to have like your creative person do all of the creative work, and then after that you have your critic review all of that stuff because you can't really be the creative and a critic at the same, or you should not tax yourself because it slows you down too much. So that's why I don't do it because I really do feel like I get stuck on changing shit as opposed to just like getting it all out and then at the end revising it or throwing it into ChatGPT. Oh, you gonna give me the stare? Like I'm in church, you across the aisle, and I'm making too much noise. Okay.
Ooh, my mama used to do that. My mama used to do that side eye look, like she wouldn't even look at you, she'd just do this, and you knew your ass was in trouble.
Yeah, just in case I don't have that power as a parent,
And
I
she
wish I
used to
had.
have this big ass ring on her hand, and she'd just drop that hand on my hand would be on the pews like this, and I'd be cutting up, and she'd go, Bill.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna get into how creative my mom got, but my mom—that's probably where I got my creativity from. Let's just say keys. I've seen keys
Wow.
fly. There was a Tupperware belt that my sister and I buried because we hated it so much.
Hmm.
But let's not revisit traumas.
No, no,
But
no, no.
okay,
Those
okay,
days are over. Those days are over.
yes. So you were saying back to David Tan presentation, back to the woman
Presentation is
who,
everything,
yeah,
man. Presentation is absolutely everything. And again, we'll put these links in the recorded version when we post the recorded version of
oh
this,
yeah, as a
so you'll
podcast,
have
right?
access to all the links we're talking about.
Yeah.
I just think presentation is so important. I used to not, frankly. I used to think if the work is good, who cares? But there's so much competition out there. You better look like you give a damn, because people will just move on. That's what
Yeah.
I've completely. It's a 180 on how I feel about that in the last few years.
So, how do you find time to work on better presentation for yourself?
I think you schedule it like it's client work. Like you tell
Mm.
yourself every Friday from 2 to 4, I'm going to work on my portfolio every Friday, no matter what, and just schedule it. Have it on your calendar. You know, like maybe it's not every Friday. Maybe it's every other Friday. So 2 days a month. You have 2 hours that all you do is work on your portfolio. You have to have it built in to your schedule. And like if you don't, like it's possible that you would see red. Like I'm seeing red now. And put it back up. Put it back up for just a second.
That was a good tie.
I'm gonna make a point.
So, no, you're not going to make a point. You got to try to make a point.
Look at the live button, the color of the live button juxtaposed to the cover of the book. The live button is orange. The book is red.
That you are no. This is orange and orange, Dave. We've had this argument forever.
It's not an
It's orange.
argument. It's not an argument. It's me trying to
It's a,
convince you that it's not orange. That's not an argument. That's
so
one
this is
person.
like gaslighting and mind control. Is what you're trying to say.
Listen,
Mm,
listen. Color is different for everyone. We all have different monitors calibrated for different things.
I don't see black or white. I just see shades of gray.
And you're gonna see black and blue if you keep on talking about what what,
That said, like an old black man.
what do you mean like an old black man? I am an old black man.
Both of them. Everybody watching is like, why are these old dudes?
Yeah,
That's
what
okay.
is that?
That's okay.
It's like the two dudes in the upper in the balcony on the Muppets.
Oh yeah, because that's an old reference, and Gen Z
If
is really
anybody
not
knows what the right, no one knows what the Muppets are.
Alabama brought us together. Maybe that is correct. That is correct.
Well,
So
let's talk about that for just a second.
wait,
Talk about just how fast the memes were created, the jokes were created. Someone created a reenactment where they used a swimming pool and they all recreated, they all had a different role. People started creating logos and illustrations. Somebody redid the Good Times Ernie Barnes painting with chairs in it. Like, let's talk about just how fast that happened, because that happened over last weekend. By Tuesday, it had been memed thoroughly. That's absolutely incredible how fast and how funny that went down. I mean
they
that
should have never gave black people the internet.
I mean I
Black
mean
Twitter and Photoshop. It's all over.
and do we call it Black X now? Is that what we call it?
Oh, oh no, man, that can't be Black X. I mean, I get it, but I think Black Twitter needs to remain culturally relevant.
We'll still call it Black Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Black Twitter can never be recreated in many ways because now that there's the spell platform, which we all should be using, but we're probably not. We should all migrate there so that there's never another Black Twitter that gives all that information in time to what is now owned by Elon Musk.
Right. But I mean, the one of the things I always like about Black Twitter is that, unlike how people are protective of what used to be called barbershop talk, right? That the things you would say in a barbershop you wouldn't let out, you wouldn't say in other avenues or environments. The great thing about Black Twitter is it's just this exposure and a little peek into Black culture that they won't, and when I say they, you know what I'm talking about, will not understand. And I think it's important for them to understand they will never understand. I think it's important for them to see there are aspects of this that where you don't belong. It's kind of like the trouble that Jamie Foxx was recently in.
Oh, I don't know about that.
So yeah, it was a blackism that uh got misinterpreted. So So yeah, the whole Black Twitter thing. I hope that never goes away. And if Twitter goes away, I hope we can recreate that somewhere else.
Like on the Spill app that was made by
Maybe.
people of color.
You know, I bet if they moved all the verses, if they moved verses over there instead of
Oh, that's a
instead of
great marketing idea, right?
yeah, that would draw all the eyeballs over to Spill.
Yeah. Maybe they need more help with marketing.
I'm sure we're not the first person to think of that.
You think? I don't
No.
know. Anyway,
Anyway, Friday.
last screen share. We got to talk about the work we're doing for State
Oh,
of Black
right,
Design.
right, right, right.
Yeah. So we are seriously trying to figure out the best way to get this design to everyone as early as possible. There are things that we, as AAGD has, there's revenue streams that we really have not tapped just because we don't have the personnel to get there. And this is one of those things where we have a product that seemingly will do well. We have blessings to move the product, but we just need to set up everything so that we do it. So I might have a weekend rush this weekend and like put everything together and get everything live.
Right. So I think we had talked about this before. Is that going to be screen printed or print on demand?
You know, that's a challenge. So ultimately, in the world of a Black Jesus, I would love to find somebody, an African American printer, to do this, screen printed, and then packaged and maybe shipped to something like Printify so that they can do the fulfillment for us so that that's off our plate. The only challenge is that puts more money into the production of the material. And then it's
Mm.
always a battle of how Black do you stay? And then how do you do this thing where we can all have a profit and it can be fair to all parties involved?
Right. Right. So we need a black screen printer, preferably someone that has a larger operation because if they could do the fulfillment, packaging, if it could all happen there, we wouldn't need Printify.
That's true.
Um, you know, and I'm imagining the fulfillment really is just customized bags, stickers, anything extra we want to put in the bag. That's the bulk of fulfillment there, right? I mean, we don't have any plans beyond anything like that, do we?
Well,
Like,
you know what I was thinking? I was thinking if we did a thing like a shirt, a poster that's screen printed, but not like the type that we're going to actually do at the conference.
mm,
If it was a shirt, a poster, and access to our private community for a certain price, that could be a good idea. And I know we were always thinking about the package that we should give away and thinking of really like selling gear before the conference to build up for the conference, especially if people are expressing interest. That's only going to be better for the conference prior to, not after, which usually happens.
right, right. I feel like one more product should be in there: t-shirt, poster. Um,
I was going to do a do rag. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. What's not? Water bottle, mouse pad, coffee mug, coffee mug, blunt wrappers. I don't know. It's just the world is endless.
you ever have like a little, like a moment where you look back at the decisions you made that have you in the place you're in right now and think, man, if I had just made a couple other moves, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be doing something else.
Are you saying this is one of those moments where you wish that you regret?
You know, honestly, let's look into getting some do-rag screen printed. I'm not even joking.
And some church fans?
Oh yeah, we can get some church fans pretty easy.
That would be hilarious. Yeah, and it's hot as the F word. So
Yeah.
hair, ooh, hair bonnet, absolutely. Yep.
Is it possible to on a secondary market brand menthol cigarettes? Is that possible?
Ooh, menthol cigarettes. mm. They taste like what? Afro soul. What is it?
All
Uh,
right. All right.
okay.
And honestly, I was thinking about like a journal. So t-shirt,
Ah.
t-shirt, poster, journal, because the journal's useful.
Okay, so but then, so do we do all of those things through Printify, or do we try to find black vendors for each one of these things? Somebody said, "What about stretch pants?" Which is kind of hilarious too. Socks.
There've got to be someone. Someone said they know a few in North Carolina. I think they were talking about screen printers. Um, it's got to be there's if we open this up to the community and say, hey, who do you know? Surely we can find black owned businesses doing these things.
Yeah,
That's got to be an easy enough ask.
yeah.
If we
I know one of.
take advantage of the group we've got and just reach out and find somebody.
I do know some people in New Orleans that print some pretty good shirts. I guess we should try and not be in a rush. I mean, the
Yeah,
conference really isn't until. I mean, there are two parts, but the bigger one isn't until March. So we don't have that as an excuse. We don't have to be in a rush to do this.
right. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what did I say? We started at a little bit before four, and it is 4:39. Dave has always been pressing for us to do this format since like day one, and it has taken me this long to catch up because they say you should work with people who are smarter than you. I don't know if Dave's completely one of them, but he does have a lot of insight, and when we oppose each other in really good ways. And I definitely appreciate that because I think this went really well. What do you think, Dave?
Man, I love this. And the fact that this is the first time we did it and it went as smoothly as it did and it looks as good as it does,
Oh no!
first time we've ever done it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's just gonna get better and better.
Facebook user said it's a good format. It went by so fast.
Yeah,
5 minutes is
and about 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes is what we're after. So yeah,
yeah.
that's about right.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, you know what the other thing we need to do? We do have a podcast that we are working on, and we have opportunities for people in our community to drop some vocals for us. And you can do that through our Spotify for Podcasters link at AAGD. I should post it. I might once Dave starts talking. And if y'all are willing to just like go to the website and do a drop, we have the content that we would love you to say. Should I tell them more, or is that good?
No, that's good. There's basically
Okay.
black as, right? Or blacker than. What's the actual title?
I'm
Let
sorry,
me-
I was on mute.
Oh, here it is.
Blacker
I
than,
found it. I found it.
yeah.
I was just looking for the list. Some blacker than grandma's church hat, blacker than Frankie Beverly at the Essence Festival. That's a mouthful.
Oh, don't do that to me.
Blacker than Spelman and Morehouse. My favorite one is blacker than the Bud Bilkin parade. Nobody knows what that is.
Well, if you black, you should.
Right. Yeah.
All
Black,
right.
blacker than hot combs and perms. We have a whole list of things that we want people to say as
Yeah.
a like just a quotable voiceover. So if you want to be part of that, please do. We would like all ages,
Yep.
all vocal styles. If you have an
Yep.
accent, even better. So yes.
Yeah. And I guess we need to post the list somewhere for them to see it too, right?
Yeah. We it's in Basecamp now. We can probably post it in the soon to be closed down Facebook group.
Oh, yes. Somebody said they're down. Maybe we should post it in the membership site.
Yeah, let's do that.
Ah, okay, good. All right. Well, we said we were going to have an official sign off. We haven't really figured that out yet. That's okay.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later.
All right. You doing anything interesting this weekend?
Uh oh, we're getting my art stuff together, so gonna finally have time to get back to that part of my life.
Yeah, I'm going to do the final touches to all of my organization for my computer and how my systems functions and automation. And then after this, we should be ready to like kick some serious ass. I'll be really grounded.
Cool, sounds good,
All
man.
right.
Well,
All right.
everybody
Y'all
have
have
a great weekend.
like Dave said, bye bye, y'all.